Mo, as a teenager, if your mom had planned for somewhere for you to go and you were like, no, I don't want to do that, how would she have responded?
Go pack your stuff. I don't think I would have much of a choice.
Is this when he was a kid?
As a teenager. Mo is a teenager. Your parents have planned something. You're supposed to go somewhere and you're like, no, that's not how I want to spend my time.
Yeah, I don't think I would have, looking back on it, had much of a choice. My family was pretty big on family time, and it wasn't really a if you want to kind of a thing. It was, no, you're a part of this family and we're about to go enjoy family time.
Abby?
Oh, yeah, my parents wouldn't have let it fly. Now, as an adult, they've come to respect to how I want to do my holidays. And I think there's something about turning 18 that just flips the switch in their head where they're like, you're an adult, so you can decide how you want to do it. But really, until I graduated college, it was like, whatever we're doing for the holidays, you are also doing.
No, I'm in my 40s and I'm going to Kentucky for the holidays. There's no other choice. Now, Bert, your kids, you have teenagers. And
I have one teenager.
Oh, yeah.
One's a grown-ass man.
Oh, he is. He's 21. He can drink.
Yes.
But you've experienced teenage life and are still in the throes of teenage life with one son. And you've done this with your oldest, Hayden. He didn't want to go on family vacations, and you honored it as a teenager, right?
Yeah, he was bringing us all down. And he just, it wasn't anything that he really enjoyed. I got a lot of flack about this from listeners going, it's family time. He doesn't understand. Your kid doesn't understand the importance of family time yet. Make him go. And he was already 18 years old. But a lot of times I'll do this with my 16-year-old Hollis also, not necessarily family vacations because we really enjoy doing the same things, but like different events or going here or there. Now that he's 16, the best advice anybody has ever given me, and it's so easy when it comes to parenting, is you got to meet your kids where they are. So there are some times where he wants to hang out by himself or hang out with friends. So I allow him he doesn't have to go to everything. But then I do think it puts more value on him when I tell him that this is something you have to go to, because I've given him the freedom to say no to other things.
So I follow Scary Mommy on Instagram, and I saw this post, and it was, it divided the masses. So the post says, I remember being a teenager. I hated being dragged to family events. I'm not going to do that to my kids. I let them make their own decisions about attending family and other events because I want them to learn how to spend their time with intention. That means teaching them it's okay to decline an invitation to do something they really don't want to do. Feeling obligated is a form of pleasing people. I've struggled with this too, and it's not what I want for them.
It's such a... You can't just draw a generalization like that. You know, when Eliza was in the house and she was showing up to Hollis's soccer matches, his championships and stuff like that, I told him it's a fair trade. Like when she is at a swim meet, look, she showed up for your stuff. You got to show up for her stuff. But as far as like family vacations and stuff goes like that, it's just a different animal.
I completely agree. Looking back on it, I think my family did kind of force us to do everything. I would have appreciated the freedom. I mean, most of the time I wanted to go, so it wasn't an issue. But there was it was more serious with, like Bert said, if it was showing up for each other, you certainly didn't have a choice. But I think when I have children one day, I would be that way as far as showing up for each other. But if it's vacations, I wouldn't force my kids to go the way my parents did me. One, because I feel like you should have the freedom to make those choices. And two, because I'm cheap. If you don't want me, you don't want me to pay for you, that's fine.
But so like I look back on one family vacation, and you know, we did a big trip out west, and then we also did a big trip up the East Coast, right? And the trip up the East Coast was when we were a little bit older, and I remember not wanting to go. Like we were gonna be in an Astro van for 3 weeks, hitting up all these historical places. I don't care if I'm going to sit in the same pew at a church as Betsy Ross did. Like, this is boring. And I would not have wanted to go. Looking back now, so glad I got to experience that. And I got to see the Liberty Bell, and I got to do all those things. So that's where I'm like, as a kid, I don't think you truly can understand and appreciate what your parents have in mind doing certain things like that. And that, yeah, in the moment you don't want to do it because you're being a bratty teenager, but then down the line you're like, God, my parents really loved me and wanted to educate me and wanted me to have those experiences.
Yeah, right.
Well, I think a lot of those obligatory like vacations and family events, like going to Thanksgiving or going to Christmas, are because your parents want you to have like a close relationship with your family. So I think there's, to some extent, like I think it's good when kids go along with it, because obviously like not everyone has the luxury of like, oh, okay, well, we'll just put you in daycare for a week while we're up in the mountains. But also like getting to experience things and then understanding why you would be making the decision to take a step back later on in life if that was like not your thing as you got older.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting because I'm kind of going through this a little bit right now. So my son Hollis, my 16-year-old and I are going to South America for Thanksgiving. He is a huge soccer fan, so we're going big and we're going to go see Brazil play Argentina, but we're also going paragliding, we're doing whitewater rafting, we're doing all sorts of things that my 21-year-old absolutely hates to do. So he's not going on this trip. But I asked him to go and he said he didn't want to do it. But it would be really interesting because it hasn't come up yet where we do a trip for Hayden. And I ask Hollis if he wants to go and look at anime and he wants to watch movies. And I think I would be the exact same way. If he doesn't want to do that because that's not his vibe, then he doesn't have to go.
I immediately ran to the comments, and the common denominator is, this post sucks. You're raising entitled kids.
The Bert Show.